So we have some really terrifying new data here on the issue of climate change. Huffington Post explains, if July felt horrendously hot, that's because it was. NASA and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, two leading global authorities on climate, both say July 2016 was not only the hottest July on record, but the most sizzling month in the history of record keeping. NOAA on Wednesday said July's global average temperature was 62.01 degrees, a full 1.57 degrees above the 20th century average. NASA, which uses a slightly different methodology, said Monday the average global temperature in July was 1.51 degrees above average. Both agencies pegged July as the hottest month since monitoring began in the year 1880. All right, more for you. NOAA said last month marks the 15th month in a row in which global heat records have been broken. That continues the longest streak of record-breaking temperatures since reporting began. Guys, this isn't an isolated incident, it's a fucking trend. So, what do people on the far right say? Whenever it snows, they go, stupid liberals, global warming, these nuts, bitch, it snowed. Fucking Jim Inhofe having a snowball fight in the Senate going, see, snow, not warm, no global warming. What are they missing? Well, they're obviously missing that they're talking about weather versus climate. The weather on any given day can be anything. It could be super high, could be super low, could be whatever. The point that matters are the trends. So weather is an isolated event that happens in a given day. Climate is the accumulation of weather. So it's the trends, it's the patterns. Here are the fucking patterns, jackasses! Here are the patterns. Hottest month ever recorded. 15 in a row of the hottest ever. The records began in 1880. You think there might be a little bit of an issue there? You think the scientists may have been right with their fucking screaming at the top of their lungs for probably a decade now about, oh shit, we got a problem, let's do something. No, guys, we're seeing it right in front of our face. This isn't like, oh yeah, climate change in the future, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. Look at right now. I mean, we have flooding in Louisiana. As I'm talking to you guys right now, there's flooding in Louisiana. They say it's the worst natural disaster since Hurricane Katrina. Just from flooding. It wasn't the high winds, wasn't this, wasn't that. From flooding that happened in Louisiana. Okay, seems to be a little bit of a problem. Again, if it was an isolated thing, you'd go, what are you going to do? But no, there's been an increased instances of this where it is a trend. Wildfires in California are now out of control, and they're bigger and worse than usual, and they continue for a longer amount of time. Again, a trend. Now, what are the long-term effects of this stuff? Well, this is where you really start to fear for humanity. We discussed the other day, the Middle East can be uninhabitable at a certain point because the temperature just gets too hot for human survival. What happens when the Middle East is uninhabitable? People have to flee the Middle East. Where are they going to go? You think we have a refugee crisis now with Syria? You don't know what a refugee crisis is until an entire region has to dump out because they can't survive. What's the world going to look like when certain areas don't have enough water? And there are wars over water for basic human survival. What happens when, because of constant drought, food prices shoot up and go through the roof, and everybody has trouble affording basic food products? What happens? We're making our bed, and we're gonna fucking sleep in it. It's time to jam on the brakes and go in the opposite direction. And even in that scenario, am I convinced that everything will be hunky-dory if we were to stop right now? No. Look at what's already happening. So, man, green technology is beyond necessary. We can't afford to lollygag anymore and have the oil companies and the fracking companies own the fucking governments the world over, where they've corrupted the system, they own the politicians, so the politicians drag their feet and go, whatever, global warming, schmobal schwarming, I'm rich, bitch. We can't afford that anymore. It's time for a full green renewable revolution. And like Bernie Sanders says, and now you see why he's 100% right, we need to treat climate change like it's a World War II level threat. I mean, those are strong words. People are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Really? We're having a conversation about the Nazis and fucking gas chambers? When the entire climate on Earth is problematic for human survival. Yeah, we're at that point. We need to address it right now.